in congressional sources tonight are two congressmen who just got back from a trip to the Middle East, California Democrat Jimmy Panetta and Iowa Republican Nunn. And it's great to have you both here. Congressman Nunn, I'll start with you. Just given the meetings that the both of you have had with representatives from Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the UAE, there are questions about who can step in here to help broker this. Congressman Nunn, do you believe it is really solely the United States here playing that role?
Caitlin, Jimmy and I just came back, and you're absolutely correct. I believe the United States is at the paramount lead in being able to help bring this to a de-escalation point, something most Americans want, something we heard from all of our Arab partners, and something I think Israel ultimately wants. But I will note this. The president is absolutely correct when he says Iran is on the verge of a nuclear weapon. Iran has a history of attacking Americans, U.S. troops around the region. 3 proxy groups, one of which took out a hit on the president this summer were they not stopped. We have a real threat situation here, and I think for the Iranians to now, play the victim card here, we forget the last 46 years when they took Americans hostage, killed 300 in Lebanon, 10 more American servicemen like myself, as well as the just Shia militias that they've been funding throughout the world. They're taking potshots at carrier strike groups and could be a direct threat to the United States tomorrow if left unchallenged.
Well, Congressman Panetta, that has been kind of the context here of the president's decision-making process. I do think there's a real question of whether or not this 2-week window is going to yield anything on the diplomatic front. How are you feeling about that after just getting back from your visit?
Yeah, it seems that the president has a policy of strategic ambiguity when it comes to Iran. Unfortunately, I don't think it's as thought through as its strategic ambiguity we're showing towards Taiwan. And we're seeing that based on the fact that the president seems to be leading from behind. And we see that with the negotiations that were leading up to this conflict show that it was just about like the JCPOA. We see it with the intelligence and that the conflict between is DNI, as you so accurately portrayed in the beginning of your show. We're seeing it in this military action, and that Israel's leading, and now the president has to make a decision as to whether or not the United States wants to go in. Despite that, though, I do believe that it is diplomacy that can get us through this. Yes, Iran has to negotiate with the United States, and 2, Iran has to give up its nuclear capability. It has to give up its nuclear enrichment capability.
And I should note, the two of you, the rest of your colleagues in the House, are going to get a classified briefing on Iran in the coming days. Congressman Nunn, if that briefing reasserts this assessment that we heard from Director Gabbard, which is that Iran is not actively building a nuclear weapon, would it change your mind about the president's path here of what course of action he should take?
Yeah, look, Jimmy and I are both intelligence officers. We come at this from something that everybody in the public can see right now. There is no reason for Iran to be enriching uranium at this level. There's no reason to build a bunker 30 stories below ground. There's no reason to not allow the IEA in here. There is no reason to continue to sponsor terrorism at $80 billion a year to directly attack your enemies unless you are aggressively moving in the direction of trying to create a nuclear weapon. Now, look, the head of U.S. CENTCOM, General Kurilla, has already made this very, very clear that there is a direct threat here at Fordo. And candidly, Caitlin, there's only one country in the world that has the ability to deliver and penetrate 300 feet into the ground to destroy a nuclear reactor like this. No one wants to see a forever war. I'm a veteran of this. I do not want to see boots on the ground in Iran, but I know that this classified briefing is going to tell us what we basically already realize. Iran's a bad actor. Iran has had the opportunity to come to the table. President Trump has offered the Ayatollah the ability time and time again. You have a 2-week window here where the Ayatollah continues to fail to show up for meetings. The responsibility here is on the Ayatollah to help the Iranian people have a better future, and instead is trying to save his regime as it continues to threaten the entire world.
Congressman Panetta?
Yeah, no, look, once again, I agree with my good friend and my travel buddy, Zach, on this. What we're seeing right now is it's basically the president trying to figure out what he has to do. And ultimately, he'd like to rely on the intelligence of Israel. He's trying to. But, what we're seeing is that this type of diplomacy that the president is trying to do, obviously, is something that he's got to get to the table. He's got to go there and basically say, look, we're willing to negotiate with you, but there's got to be 0% enrichment capabilities. We heard that over and over from the leadership in the three countries that we travel to. Let me tell you, they made it resoundingly clear that they are absolutely fearful of a nuclear-armed Iran. And we are too. That is an existential threat and something that we need to take seriously.
Yeah. It's always good to agree with people that you are traveling with. Congressman Jimmy Panetta, Zachary Nunn, it's great to have you both here tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Caitlin.